you can do anything in life through resilience, commitment, and respect. You can get there and achieve it.
This podcast encourages and empowers you to create your own unique real story, develop your own unique real statement, and discover your own unique real self. The power is yours. Good morning, Ian Iseli. How are you doing on this wonderful, beautiful morning?
I'm perfectly fine. How are you doing?
I am excellent, my friend. Well, it's a great pleasure to connect with you. What part of the world are you in right now?
Currently, I'm in Barcelona, Spain.
Now, you have in your bio something I've never, ever seen, right? And I've had a ton of conversations. It's like you're Swiss, Portuguese, Angolan, living in Barcelona.
Yeah, it's quite a mix.
It is a mix, isn't it? Like, how did that happen?
Well, my mom's full Swiss and my dad is Portuguese Angolan. But growing up, I kind of grew up around the world. So I grew up in around 10 different countries. And right now I'm in Barcelona for my studies.
Wow, that's amazing. What are you studying?
International business and finance.
Well, that connects.
Yeah, international, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure, right? So, I mean, do tell us, which of your talents is responsible specifically for us connecting at this time?
Well, for us connecting, that would be my mother. But in terms of like a talent, it would be my enthusiasm for sports.
What type of sports do you play?
All sports. I was lucky enough growing up to, my mother wasn't very specific in terms of I had to stick to one sport. She kind of let me try anything that I wanted to try. So I was lucky enough to have a variety of sports experiences, from team sports, individual sports, and so on.
Yeah. So what's your favorite?
That has always been a tricky question. It's like when you ask somebody who's really into music, what's your favorite type of music? It's a bit hard. Yeah. But the one I play the most is probably football.
Okay. And when
As
you
in
say
soccer.
Football, Americans call it
Yeah,
soccer. Yeah. Well, that's super cool. Are you professional or are you attempting to be professional or right now it's a hobby?
Right now it's just a hobby. It did come through my mind when I was growing up, but at the moment I'm just pursuing it as a hobby.
All right. So the international studies is business and finance is your main focus. Why will you continue to be that person that continues on that route?
Well, I always had a keen sense for business. When I was young, I used to sell candy to my fellow classmates for an upbeat price, basically ripping them off. But I mean, that's business, right? You try to market up the product that you sell. But in the future, the reason I'm currently studying this is because I always wanted to start my own business. And currently I'm looking towards starting an e-commerce store just on the side of my studies before pursuing a corporate career.
Now, tell me one other thing that you've done consistently over the last 3 years.
Consistently was sports, really, because when I was in high school, I had quite an extensive sports career. As I mentioned, I tried a variety of different sports. Sports teaches you so many things. Well, one of the 3 principles that we were encouraged to implement in our sport was respect, resilience, and commitment. And they really interlink to all other aspects of life, not necessarily towards sports. So when they talk about respect, it's not only to respect your fellow teammates, coaches, or other teams, but also individuals, and you respect yourself. So this goes in terms of like how you see yourself, how you self-talk, what you eat, what you do, everything that leads to a better outcome.
How does it feel having a mother like Esty Wilkinson, who is also a high achiever?
Well, I guess genetically, I got a lot of traits from her in terms of competition and ambition, but it's a bit hard to to live up to it, I suppose.
Yeah.
Because I mean, she has really achieved so much in her life, and it's uncomparable to a lot of people. It's definitely something I'm working towards, but something that I try to constantly implement is to improve yourself. When I was in high school, it was more about competing towards other people. But now, as I've matured and stuff, it is more towards competing to who I was the last year, the day prior, the month prior.
That's amazing. Yeah, amazing audience. Like we had Ian's mother on Esty Wilkinson, episode 2381, and before that she was there as well, episode 253. Really amazing what she's accomplished over the last couple of years. And now I get to speak with her son, so it's definitely true that the fruit doesn't fall far from the tree. Tell someone out there why you suggest they should do what you've done by really combining both things, right? The sports side with the educational side of life.
Well, in terms of sports, there's really an unlimited amount of benefits that derive from sports. You don't have to do it at a competitive level or really intensely where your whole life is based around it. But I would suggest that people integrate some level of activity and exercise into their lives. It gives like a variety of benefits from improved sleep to decrease several conditions related to the heart, improved overall confidence, not just in sports, like in your general life. And then there's so many benefits that come from your confidence as well. But in terms of pursuing at least your passion, I suppose, because that's what I'm doing when I'm going towards business. I would highly suggest that because the thing that has always gotten me is like this quote. It's like you get whether you fail or succeed, people judge you anyway, so you might as well do what you want. And there's another statistic where it was like an example where an individual, someone's father, was working in a company for 40 years and they still let him go. There's no such thing as a safe career anymore. So why would you risk your whole life pursuing something that might not end up well and you hate it rather than pursue something that might end up well but you love it? So
Love it.
that makes
Love
a
it.
lot more sense to me.
Well, again, amazing audience. You're hearing it live from Ian Iseli. It's like a tongue twister, right? With the two eyes, right? Ian Iseli.
Yeah, it really is.
Well, let's switch gears for a moment now. Let me invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm blue Caribbean water. Ian, what's your earliest childhood memory?
My earliest childhood memory would have to be that time my sister and I went for a bike ride with my mother to the city's track. I remember I was riding a small bicycle with the imprint of the Dalmatian dogs because I was quite a big fan. I mean, at the time, obviously, kids, you watch 101 Dalmatians and you just get attuned to it. And yeah, I must have been around 2 to 3 years old.
Why do you think this memory is so clear?
I honestly have no idea because the human memory is such an interesting thing. Like some people can remember the day they were born and others do not remember what they had for breakfast this morning. So
Exactly, yeah.
it's a bit of a tricky understanding.
How do you see it connecting to who you are today when you reflect on them being in your life and the racetrack side of things?
By them, what do you mean by them?
Well, your mother and sister, they were very present. And then you said you were about to ride, it was at a racetrack, right? It's like you're riding a bicycle on a track, yeah?
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you had to connect that to life metaphorically today, how do you see it connecting to who you are?
Well, I owe everything to my mother and my sister. They're basically because my mother was a single mother who raised two children across continents. So there's definitely a lot to learn from her. And my sister has always looked out for me from a very young age onwards. So I guess it sounds cliche to say they're like my backbone of support, I suppose.
That's intriguing. Can I offer an interpretation to the thought picture you created in my mind with that memory?
Please, by all means.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I love the concept of the circle, the cyclical process of life. I think it's so important. You touched on it before. You expressed the guy that worked till 40 and then after lost his job. And I think it comes full circle to who you are and you being happy, as you expressed earlier on. On that track, it gives you the reality of even though the competition is there, you still come back to where you started. So it's really good to start from that place that brings you happiness and to see that
Definitely.
your family is present there and that's what surrounds you. I love how that connects to who you are today, Ian.
Definitely, I couldn't agree more.
If we fast forward to when you were 12 years old, what was your favorite song?
I Need a Doctor by Dr. Dre. Because when I was 12, that was when the whole trend and hype came with the Dr. Dre headphones, the Beats.
Sweet, yeah.
So obviously you had to, I owned a pair and I had to follow the music as well.
Love it. All right, my friend. Well, we've arrived at our destination. But before we get off of this time machine, there's a small declaration form. So it's yes or no. We're going to move pretty quickly here. Are you ready, Ian?
Okay, I'm ready.
Ian, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
Yes.
Are you married?
I'm not.
Do you have children?
I don't.
Do you believe in God?
Subjective question.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
I do have an inner circles of friends.
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
It depends on the day.
How about 3 hours a week?
Yeah.
What about screen time, the phone and or the computer? Is it more than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
Less than 8 hours a day.
How about reading? How often do you read?
Every day.
Ian, if you had to share with us your own unique real statement, a statement that represents who you are, Ian Iseli, what would you say that is?
A statement that represents who I am. You can do anything in life, anything you set your mind to, and through resilience, commitment, and respect, you can get there and achieve it.
Love it. RRC. You took that through your entire life, haven't you? I love it. Ian, again, great pleasure. Before you leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
Pursue your goal. Do what you love rather than what people expect you to do. Because then that's the real goal in life, right? I mean, everyone has like a different measure of success. But when people really do what makes them happy, not only they do it better, but they get their happiness out of it. And overall, if everyone is happy, then I believe the world will have a lot less problems than they currently do.
I totally agree with you, my friend. Now, just to give hail out to your sister, right? I mean, after we've spoken about her on the podcast, she was on the podcast as well, right? Had a great conversation with her as well. Amazing audience. If you want to link to that episode, you can check her out, Joel Iseli 679. My friend Ian, this was a great pleasure, a pleasure I treasure. Thank you for being on What is Inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones. This podcast is produced by Pod Edits. Visit podedits.com for professional podcast publishing.